What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Rumble. Here to talk some Packers tonight. We'll have Jacob joining us here shortly, live from Wisconsin. And we got some good topics tonight, man. We're going to talk about 5 reasons why the Packers will dominate in 2025. We're going to hit on Edgerrin Cooper, 5 reasons why Edgerrin Cooper is a star already in the National Football League. And we're also going to hit on a little Xavier McKinney and kind of change it up a bit, talk about his leadership that he brought to the locker room here in Green Bay his first year. I think the second year he's poised to do just as much damage, to be honest with you, in a good way, of course. And if you guys are new here to PTA, welcome in. Appreciate you making us a part of your evening. If you would, hit that subscribe button. We go live pretty much daily. We're not experts. We're not pundits. We're not, your media members. We don't claim to be. We're not insiders. We're just like you guys. We're fans in here talking about the Packers, breaking things down that we feel is most important to the upcoming season. So if you want to support the channel, you want to join in each time we go live, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on that bell icon. We got Jacob joining us now from Wisconsin. Jacob, how you doing, big dog?
I'm doing good. I hope you guys can hear me. I did see a little bit of a delay when I started, so if I get choppy, I'll hop off and try to hop back on. But
gotcha. A little bit of a delay, but that's all right. We'll see if we can work through it, man. We're going to jump into the first topic here this evening, and that is 5 big reasons the Packers will dominate in 2025. This was a fun one to put together, just kind of going through and asking the whole intraweb, the AI system, hey, what are the 5 reasons the Packers could dominate this year? And here's what we came up with. While the media hypes the usual teams, Green Bay is quietly building a juggernaut. The Packers aren't just playoff hopefuls. They're poised to run the NFC in 2025, and the league is about to take notice. Forget the skeptics. The Packers are set to dominate thanks to elite drafting, development, and coaching. Today, we're breaking down the 5 biggest reasons this team is a serious threat. From a franchise quarterback's rise to a roster built for a deep playoff run, 2025 is the year it all comes together. No surprise here, Jacob. Reason number 1, the ascension of Jordan Love and the offensive firepower. The biggest reason is Jordan Love. Doubts are gone. He's a top-tier quarterback and still improving. In his 3rd year as a starter, he mastered LaFleur's system. Despite 2024 injuries, he led the team to more wins than 2023. Isn't it funny? We talked about how he took it. Some people were talking about how he took a step back, but yet we turn around and we win more games this past year than we did in 2023. Now, I know Malik Willis played a role in that, coming in one game where he came in off the bench and then the other 2 with the start. But nonetheless, Packers have improved on their overall record. It says now healthy, he's primed for a breakout year. Love isn't alone. Josh Jacobs, when healthy, is a punishing workhorse who wears down defenses. The passing game is loaded with young talent. Receivers Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, and Dontavion Wicks, plus tight ends Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave form a dynamic group. The offensive line, led by Zach Tom and Elton Jenkins, with depth from Jordan Morgan, gives Love time and opens lanes for Jacobs. This versatile, explosive offense can score on anyone. Notice it didn't even mention Matthew Golden, Savion Williams, and some of the other pieces we're putting in place. Didn't mention Marshawn Lloyd, who some people have a lot of high hopes for if he indeed can stay healthy. What do you think about reason number 1 being Jordan Love? I think it begins and ends right there at the quarterback, right?
Yeah, and I mean, that's going to be pretty typical for most teams, but I really do think that Jordan Love has the potential to absolutely ball out in a way that we haven't seen yet, which is crazy because if you look at that back half of the 2023 season, the dude was arguably a top 3 quarterback. I mean, I don't think there's anybody that could, if you look at the numbers, if you look at the way he performed, you just can't argue that there's anything different than that. And, you could blame a lot of things on injuries. You can blame a lot of things on being a new kind of starter and being a novice and that sort of stuff, which is all, I think, relevant, topics to actually bring up. But I just think that there's something in the water. I feel it in my bones that this dude is going to take a step to the point where we're going to see, barring injury, of course, that we're going to see Jordan Love take a step that is going to be planting him very, very securely in the top 10 of NFL quarterbacks. I don't see a situation, like I said, other than an injury or like a weird, crazy thing going on, that team is right now. We have built Matt LaFleur, Brian Gutekunst, even, Ed Policy, who is now, I believe, in charge officially, isn't he now?
Yep.
Like they've built
July 25th,
quite an establishment here, quite a roster, quite Okay. Gotcha. But I mean, this is a deep team, guys, and the biggest glaring need to me is going to be cornerback, not quarterback. That's what I would say.
Okay, got it. All right, reason number 2, an elite, deep, and versatile roster. Reason 2 is roster depth. GM Brian Gutekunst's draft success, hitting on picks across all rounds, has built a complete 53-man squad. This depth means injuries don't derail the team, a rare luxury. The defensive front with Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, Lucas Van Ness, and Brenton Cox Jr. is a relentless rotation that keeps pressure on. It's amazing how some people are still talking as if this defensive line sucks. I seen in the chat the other night. I've gotten added to like 10 different chats on Twitter, and I have no idea how I end up in them. People just randomly add me to them. I didn't get asked. It's just bang, you're here. So there's probably something in the settings I'm screwing up. But it was just talking as if stats prove the Packers pass rush was bad. And I'm like, what stats are we looking at? What are we looking at? Because it's like people will cherry pick pass rush win rate. When the sacks are up, they go to pass rush win rate. When the sacks are down, then they lean on the sacks, like as if the sacks are everything, right? So just wild. The secondary, led by Xavier McKinney's playmaking, includes Keyshawn Nixon and younger corners like Kalen King. Special teams, once a weakness, is now a strength under Rich Bisaccia, and Brandon McManus and Daniel Whelan adding reliability. This deep, balanced roster defines great teams. I didn't even mention Carrington Valentine, who I'm most excited about. Jacob, I know you're worried about the cornerback room a little bit, but I'm telling you, man, we've played without Ja. You know, it's not going to be this huge drop off now that Ja's gone, especially if we continue to call the defense that we have, where we're playing more of a little bit safer approach, a 4-man rush, albeit we're simulating some pressure, but still just rushing forward the majority of the time.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you said, I definitely would have to think that the cornerback room would be the most suspect for me, but I also think that we maybe have the most hidden talent that we have not seen what they can come to fruition. We got guys like Kalen King. We got guys like Micah Robinson. We've got guys that, I mean, even if you want to, like you said, Valentine, dude, like he's shown way more on the field, and I don't think he's getting enough respect for that. And, you know, I still got, I'm the president of the Javon Bullard fan club, and I'm not willing to let one kind of shaky rookie year dissuade me from thinking that this dude's going to be an absolute stud. I really do think that. Drew D, like you talk about our safeties, he's talking about Zane Anderson. The depth is unreal. Evan Williams, Oladapo, all right? Like, we have got dudes waiting in the hopper. And Tyron Hopper, how about that?
Hey.
It's just, it's just, hey, Tim, how are you?
I'm good. I love Tyron Hopper too. You know?
Yeah, I know you
Not
do.
on my drop in. Let's go to the chat here. At Steve DTA said the defense is going to be better than ever with Covington as a new defensive line coach. That's something I'm very excited about. Daryl in the chat says Packers defense had high numbers on defense. Got to give credit Jeff Hafley's defensive scheme. The scheme was just, it was beautifully put together, man. And the way he adapted early, like, okay, we're not going to hit home with pressure with 4 right out of the gate. Let's keep one guy back. Hey, listen, if we're not going to be hitting home for a lot of sacks, let's make sure we're protecting the rush lanes. It's the big thing that I came away with. Drew in the chat says we've got a lot of guys that will benefit from another year in a Hafley scheme and another year of experience. And really, Drew, just getting used to the coaches. You know, Tim, that's a big part of this, dude, is these players, they've got 1 year under their belt with Hafley, and now they're going to be able to come back, and he understands them and what they do good a little bit better. They understand him and his coaching style and exactly what he's asking for. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if the defense takes a slight step back just because these teams have all this coaching tape on our defense now. But at the same time, these guys are going to be a little bit better prepared this year too, Tim.
I agree. It's like Jacob was just saying about Bullard, right? I'm not going to give up on Bull either, man. Like 1 year, come on. You know, like we talk about, hey, coverage skills need to, you know, improve a little bit. Some bad looks. You look at some tape, you see some things you don't like. It's like you say, Clay, we don't want to look at a player for what he can't do. We want to look at him for what he can do. And I think another year in Hafley's system, guys like Bullard, we haven't really even scratched the surface on Kalen King, some of these other guys. So I fully expect them to take a year or two leap for sure in this system.
Yeah. Chris in the chat says Hopper was a second-round talent, according to Goot. That's something that gets swept under the rug all the time. You know, we got him in the 3rd round, and we had him significantly lower on our board. But Goody came out and said they had a second-round pick on him, or a second-round talent on him, if I remember correctly. A great comment there, Chris. Moving on, number 3, coaching continuity, exactly what we were just talking about, and strategic upgrades. Reason 3 is coaching. Matt LaFleur's winning culture and NFC best regular season record since 2019. I repeat, Matt LaFleur has the best regular season record in the NFC since 2019. It provides stability. Offensive continuity with Adam Stenavich lets young players refine their game. Additions like Luke Getsy and Sean Mannion bolster Love's development. Defensively, Jeff Hafley transformed the unit in 1 year, making it aggressive and effective, especially against the run. His intense style paired with DeMarcus Covington's defensive line expertise maximizes this roster's potential. This blend of stability and innovation is a winning formula. Really, really excited to see what Covington can do this year with this defensive line for sure, man. Going to be a blast. Moving along.
Can I
now.
mention something?
Yeah, go ahead. What's up?
I'm not sure if you guys had covered it on one of the podcasts I missed, but did you see, I can't remember if it was NFL or one of the official, websites or sites or whatever, listed their 10 top their top 10 NFL head coaches. And once again, Matt LaFleur was left off that list.
Yeah, we hit that.
Giving them numbers that
they're doing. Do you understand that?
Yeah, we hit that one. We were blown away by it, Jacob. Uh-oh, we lost Jacob. Can you hear Jacob, Tim?
Yes.
Okay, I can't hear Jacob. I think we're good now. Jacob, try it.
I said, why is that still the narrative with Matt LaFleur?
I don't get it, man. Before it was always, well, he's got Aaron Rodgers. Now he doesn't have Aaron Rodgers, and there's no excuse. Like, the dude just continues to win. He continues to win. Mind-boggling. So, reason number 4, defensive growth and flexibility. The 4th reason is Hafley's defense, which improved dramatically and is just getting started. It's aggressive, creating turnovers with ball-hawking DBs and zone-heavy coverage. The versatile front with Gary and Van Ness generates pressure without risky blitzes. Xavier McKinney's range lets corners play tighter, and a full offseason will refine this system. This defense, once a liability, is now a game-changing weapon. Once again, we finished 2nd in run defense, and we were top 10 pass defense. We finished 9th in sacks on the front. LVN finished with almost 12% pressure rate. Gary cracked 13%. Both of those were a higher pressure rate than TJ Watt. Max Crosby played 98% of the snaps out there for the Raiders, right? Played, 17 games or something, whatever the total games were. And he only finished with the same amount of sacks as Gary, who played like a little, I think it was 59% of the snaps. So it's absolutely huge. I think that we recognize what Hafley's done with this defense. Tim, you got anything to add to that, brother?
I think about what you say, like, you get a year 2 coordinator, you got things on tape, defense might take a step back, but I give credit to Haf and wonder about, what is he going to do different this year, right? How are we going to tweak the schemes? How are we going to tweak the looks? We have different personnel, right? We may have personnel in different spots. We talk about the hockey line approach. We talk about maybe letting guys get more snaps and maybe not take the hockey line approach. I think this year is going to be, from a defensive perspective, I think it's really going to, it's going to lie in the fact that Hafley's got to be creative, and I think we will be. So at the end of the day, man, the defense could take a step back probably early in the year, but by the time we make that playoff push, man, we're trying to close out the season. I think we'll be firing on all cylinders.
Yeah. And then number 5, organizational stability and youthful upside. Finally, the Packers combine stability and youth, one of the NFL's youngest teams. They've made the playoffs twice, proven their core is battle-tested and still ascending. While others face aging rosters or cap issues, Green Bay's window is wide open. Gutekunst's drafting and minimal free agency losses ensure continuity and hunger. That's one thing to mention about Goody. What free agent has he swung and missed on? I can't think of one. Like, ever since he got to Green Bay, he has not spent big money on a player that didn't pan out. Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith were dogs those first few years that they were with the Packers, right? I mean, they were absolute monsters. He goes out and gets Xavier McKinney and Josh Jacobs, both of those guys Pro Bowl players. Like, he is so good in free agency, which that's why I had to take a step back when I looked this year and they signed Aaron Banks. On the surface, you want to go, man, that don't make sense. Aaron Banks don't look like this superstar guard. But then when you look at the contract, it's really just a 2-year deal. You can get out of it after 2 years. And on top of that, I think we need to step back and trust Goody's ability to evaluate in free agency.
That was my reaction, Clay. I saw the Banks signing. I'm like, oh, wait, what? And then I watched some tape and I was like, oh, looks pretty good. And then I looked at the contract and I went, in Goot we trust. There's got to be a method to the madness. And I think at a certain point, part of being a fan is allowing yourself to do that and just be a fan, trust in your organization, believe in these guys that are put in these positions to make these decisions. And, like I said, in Goot we trust, man. I'll take it.
It goes on to say, love the receivers, and Hafley's defense are just hitting their stride. This isn't a one-year shot. It's a team built to dominate for years. Obviously, man, the window is wide open. It's officially open. Last year, I hesitated saying that because we had the youngest roster in the league, and I've talked about that over and over and over. Love it. But, so I feel like now is the time, and you just continue to add to that roster year in and year out for sure. So, conclusion, here's why the Packers will dominate. Love's rise, a stacked roster, elite coaching, a fierce defense, and a young, stable organization. The buzz in Lambeau is about to explode. This team is a certified contender. Subscribe for more breakdowns and comment your boldest 2025 Packers prediction. Hit that up in the YouTube comments. If you're on our Patreon group, which is where this article is at, feel free to drop a comment in there as well. I wanted to point this out before we move on to the next topic, which is Edgerrin Cooper. Check this out, guys, and shout out, I believe it's Greg Rice in our Patreon group. Share this in one of the many chats we got in there. Just another perk to being a member of our Patreon group, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access, or scan the QR code in the upper right. Last time each NFL team had 3 or fewer wins. So the Browns did it. The Browns and the Titans did it in 2024. The Panthers did it in 2023. The Bears did it in 2022 along with the Texans. The Lions did it as early, or as recent, I should say, as 2021 along with the Jaguars. Then it was the Jets in 2020, the Bengals and the Commanders in 2019. Then you get a flurry of teams, just onesies here, right? You got the Vikings 2011. Look where the Packers are at. The Packers have not had, again, they've had 3 or fewer wins. The last time the Packers did that was 1958. I repeat, 1958. The Baltimore Ravens have never done it since their existence, but obviously they came into the league, I think, in the year 2000.
Is that considered Baltimore's franchise, though? Is that the Baltimore Colts as well as the Ravens?
That's a great question, Tim. I don't know if the Baltimore Colts ever had it or not. That's a great question. You would think they put / the Baltimore Colts there.
Right.
I think they're just talking about the Ravens in general since they launched in 2000. So, but if that is the case and you were to remove Baltimore, right, then the Packers, that blew me away, 1958, because I thought for sure it happened in the 80s or something. Or maybe
I was going to say, I thought the 80s were the dark ages. Holy cow. At least they didn't only win 3 games.
Yeah. So, again, there it is, 5 reasons the Packers will dominate in 2025. Now we're going to move on to some Edgerrin Cooper talk. Really, really excited about this. We're going to start it off with a PFF article that I thought was really interesting. You know, we've been hitting these a lot here lately where it's breaking down the positional rankings. So let's go to PFF linebacker rankings, top 32 ahead of the 2025 NFL season. All right. And I just want to mention it. It mentions a couple here on the front side. Fred Warner stands alone. The 4-time All-Pro has a long history of elite plays in all facets, having charted as a top 5 linebacker in each of the past 5 seasons. Look at the only other player it mentions with Fred Warner. Edgerrin Cooper could become a household name. Cooper's return from injury was out of this world with his 91.3 PFF overall grade from week 15 onward, leading the NFL. The sky's the limit for the young defensive force in 2025. So here is the list in order. And I love that they broke them down into tiers. Tier 1, Fred Warner of the San Francisco 49ers. Tier 2, you got Zach Bond of the Philadelphia.
What a difference a Super Bowl makes, right?
Look at the PFF grades, Tim.
Yeah.
65, 44, 50, 71, and then bang, 90. One of these don't belong. I'm not going to be surprised if he comes back down to earth and, somewhere in the 60 to 70 range. But nonetheless, he's in tier 2, number 2 on this list. Also in tier 2, Bobby Wagner, the one that got away, right?
Here's a guy.
He's number 3. Number 4, Roquan Smith of the Baltimore Ravens. The Bears thought he sucked. They sent him packing, and what happened? He became a star. Dre Greenlaw is number 5. Then you get into tier 3, and you've got Bobby Okereke, I think is how you say that name. Then you got of the Giants, you got Devin Lloyd of the Jaguars, Jack Campbell of the Lions, and then our very own number 9 is Edgerrin Cooper of the Green Bay Packers. Again, Edgerrin Cooper is considered by PFF to be the 9th best stack backer in the entire National Football League. It says a hamstring injury may have limited Cooper to just over 500 snaps in his rookie season, but his level of play at just 23 years old is undeniable. Cooper stands as one of just 2 linebackers to have generated a 74.0 plus PFF grade in all 3 major defensive facets in 2024, run defense, coverage, and pass rush. He can do it all, with the other being Zach Bond. His return from injury was out of this world, with his 91.3 PFF overall grade from week 15 onward leading the NFL. The sky's the limit for this young defensive force in 2025. As you can see here, finished the season with an 85.7 PFF grade, Tim. Absolutely wild, man.
Yeah, you got to love Coop, man. And look at the company he's being mentioned with, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, Fred Warner, I don't know how much of an argument there is, but he's probably the best stack backer in the NFL. And then, a guy like Zach Bond, who obviously popped last year and turned that into a extension, and we'll see what happens for him. But, Edgerrin Cooper right there in the mix, and he's played barely a full season of NFL football. So I think year 2 is going to be something for the books when it comes to Edge Coop, man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, so let's jump into the other article we put up here on the Patreon group, Top 5 Reasons Edgerrin Cooper is a Star. In today's NFL, linebackers need to be versatile, fast like a safety, instinctive like a chess master, able to diagnose and disrupt plays. Few have this rare mix, but Green Bay's Edgerrin Cooper is proving he does. He's a superstar in the making. Here are 5 reasons why Cooper is the future of the Packers defense and on track for NFL stardom. This isn't hype. It's a breakdown of a player transforming Green Bay's defense. Let's dive in. Reason number 1, freakish game-breaking athleticism. Edgerrin Cooper's explosive athleticism is undeniable. At the NFL Combine, the 6'2", 230-pound linebacker ran a 4.51 40-yard dash, blazing speed for his size. On the field, this translates to shooting gaps on blitzes, chasing down running backs, and erasing angles. Defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley described a play where Cooper closed an 8-yard gap on a screen pass to make the tackle, quote, eating up the grass. His 9.34 RAS, or relative athletic score, ranks him among the most athletic linebacker prospects since 1987, combining explosion, agility, and speed. This lets him recover from rare mistakes, as his college coach Jimbo Fisher noted, making him a weapon against spread offenses. Jacob, we got us one, man. We got us a dog in Coop.
Yeah, 100%. And I wasn't actually aware that he had that high of an RAS. I guess that kind of floated past me. And what's crazy? Can you scroll up just a tidbit? Look at that young man right there. That ain't what
he looks like now.
That ain't what he looks like now, bro. He's been eating some of them Wheaties and eating some of them protein shakes a little bit there. And I'm so excited because he's such a good person. He's such a good fit for this community, for this team. Tim, can we try to get him going fishing too? Maybe get him going.
He's already beat me to it, man.
Did he?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Nicole Hardman have already been on the river.
We in my family, we got about 200 and some odd hunting acres of some land. So let's try to get Edgerrin Cooper. If you want to get going, we'll take you turkey hunting. I'll take you bow hunting, wherever you want to do, dude. Let's go.
Absolutely.
He's as country as cornbread, dude. Yeah. I love it.
I think Coop's a hog hunter, man. He likes.
Yeah, he's a hog hunter.
Yeah, he's
got like 6 dogs, I think, that live with him in the house.
And he's got a couple horses, including Frosty, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Drew D says most athletic linebacker prospect since 1987, and we got him in the 2nd round. Somebody put some spec on Goody's name for sure. Daryl, that's all right. All right, moving on to number 2 here, an elite football mind. Athleticism gets you noticed, but football IQ, what we refer to on here as FBI, makes you a star. Cooper's ability to read and react in a split second sets him apart. Coaches praise his recognition skills. He doesn't just react, he anticipates. Film study at Texas A&M honed this, letting him play faster by knowing what's coming. As a rookie, despite missing training camp time due to injury, as the hammy that we talked about, he quickly earned trust by mastering his role and understanding the defense as a whole. His college coordinator, DJ Durkin, helped pair his physical tools with a pro-level preparation. Veterans like Kenny Clark call him a reliable playmaker, combining athleticism with this mental edge makes Cooper a nightmare for offense. I love that they're mentioning the mental aspect of his game, Tim. It's not just about those elite skills.
He was the best guy around.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the we're going to get to reason number 3 here, the undeniable rookie impact. I think it's because the biggest thing, we talk about the physical part of it, we talk about the athletic part of it, but I don't think people were prepared for Edge Coop's FBI as a rookie. And it just seemed that as soon as they put him in the mix, he understood what was going on. And, we've talked about it a few times. The biggest gripe they had was, gap assignments sometimes, maybe getting a little left or right of your gap assignment. But bottom line, man, this guy's a playmaker. And, I hate to jump the gun, but it does. It reminds me of a young Luke Kuechly, a guy who came into the league and could just understand what the play was before
Immediately.
Immediately. And you combine that with, being a physical freak and having the athletic traits that it takes to play at this level. I mean, yeah, you've got a potential superstar in the NFL in Edge Coop for sure.
Yeah, we got royalty in the chat here tonight. Cheesehead Murph in the house. I made it. Damn it. Go back.
Murph.
Murph. Everybody sit up straight. Murph's in the house. All right, reason number 3, undeniable rookie impact. Potential means nothing without production, and Cooper delivered as a rookie. Playing about half the defensive snaps, he racked up 77 tackles. Again, he played half the snaps, 77 tackles, 13 of those for a loss, 3.5 sacks from the stack backer position, an interception, a forced fumble, and 2 fumble recoveries. His 13 tackles for a loss ranked second among all off-ball linebackers, what we refer to as stack backers, the most by a rookie since 2012. He earned NFC Defensive Player of the Week twice. That was in Week 8 and 15, becoming the first Packers rookie to do so in a single season. He was also named NFL Defensive Rookie of the Month for December and January and made the PFWA All-Rookie team. His growth from situational player to linebacker core was a sign of a future superstar. Jacob, we talk about this, dude. I said it last year, and I'm sure people rolled their eyes. I have not seen a Packers linebacker come into the league and just immediately dominate the way he did. I'm a huge A.J. Hawk fan. I think A.J. Hawk is extremely underappreciated in the Packers, amongst Packer fans. The dude was a team captain for years. He's got a Super Bowl ring. Before that, he has a national championship ring. The dude has just won everywhere he's went. He was the green dot. He was the kind of the leader on that defense, right there in the middle of that defense. Not the best player on defense, but he was one of if not the most important leaders on it, right? Not even A.J. Hawk. Again, A.J. Hawk did not look like this at any point in his career. He did not look the way Cooper did last year, man. It's really odd.
Yeah, like Tim was just mentioning, it's a unique kind of situation where you see, well, what's the guy's weakness? Well, he diagnoses plays too quickly and gets away from his gap assignment. Meaning, like, he'll just go make the play. Yeah, he'll just absolutely not do what he was supposed to do, but he ends up with like a 3-yard loss. Okay, I'll take that and work with it. Like you said, I love AJ Hawk. Absolutely love him till the day I die. The guy did not come in with the type of FBI that Edgerrin Cooper has. And you look at the way that he just is fluid. I think that some of the plays you watch, how he reads and diagnoses, and just once he sees it, he shoots. And he is just an absolute demon like that, man. I mean, human meat missile, bro. That's literally the definition. He showed it's kind of a big joke, right? But he's the definition of it. He sees, he diagnosed, he gets sent, and he blows the play up. And it's freaking fun to watch, dude. And hey, for once in Athens' career, he had something positive to say about the Packers, which I thought I would highlight.
We got breaking news here, Tim.
Let's call a spade a spade. He says he's more athletic than Luke Kuechly. Well, how about that? And by the way, that's Luke. Thank you, Tim. Luke Kuechly he looked like Superman. He looked like Clark Kent without, when he doesn't pull the suit off and all that kind of stuff. But the guy came to play, right? Like he was an absolute monster when he decided to turn it on. I honestly do feel like that's a great comparison, because if you talk to Edge outside of the game, he's just a nice, happy-go-lucky, like he's smiling. He's just a nice guy, He just seems like the guy you want to have a beer with or whatever. But all of a sudden, he gets on the field and he turns into a freaking demon, dude.
I agree with AFAM's comment there. Like maybe the Kuechly comparison.
Which one?
Well, the one he's talking about. Maybe he's
don't agree with the most recent one here, Tim. Whatever you do, geez, Pete.
Oh, no, I'm not even paying attention anymore.
Thank God somebody's
strictly talking ball right now. Shout out to AFAM's mom; she's got it going on. But anyways, no, I think the comparison to Kuechly is warranted, and his point is true. Like Edge Cooper is probably more athletic, more physically gifted than even a Luke Kuechly. And if you've watched any tape on Luke Kuechly, the dude was a freak. And so you combine the FBI with the physical, attributes, it's lights out. And, I think AFAM's right, man. I think Edge Coop is probably more of an athlete than even Luke Kuechly.
Yeah. Steve DTA in the chat says it's nice to be back with Clayton and Tim and Bray Wyatt on PTA Live. I've been gone for a good long minute. Nice to be back. I love this time of year, Steve, because everybody needs a break, right? I mean, I'm a weirdo. I think about the Packers 365 days a year. My wife's like, you're insane. But I love this time of year as we close in on training camp. All the old listeners start trickling back in, right? It's going to be a blast having everybody back in. Appreciate you swinging through, buddy. Let's go on to number 4. Reason number 4. Bray Wyatt, wasn't he? Am I thinking right? He's a wrestler?
Here's the guy.
Google Bray Wyatt, Jacob. You got a phone there, sir. I'm trying to run a podcast here.
My internet sucks. Y'all should know that.
You're ready to go.
You're ready to go. Reason number 4, the relentless drive to dominate. All right. Talent and production are key, but Cooper's drive to improve sets him apart. In his first offseason, he added muscle to handle the NFL's physicality without losing speed. Head coach Matt LaFleur noted, quote, he still looks as explosive as ever. I think, what did he say he put on? 20 pounds it was, I believe. All-pro safety Xavier McKinney praised his intentional approach, saying, quote, he's serious about what he wants to do. LaFleur also highlighted Cooper's growing confidence and deeper defensive understanding, allowing him to play faster. This commitment to turning weaknesses into strengths and elevating his strengths is what makes stars into legends. And when you look at the PFF grades from last year, just going week by week here, I'm going to rattle them off to you guys.
Wow.
Starting in week 1, 81, 71, 76, 66, 70, 78, 79, 87, 64, 60, 85, 81. His PFF grade on the year ended up being a 90.8 here, according to this metric. I think that's correct. That is correct. So actually the 90.8, that's really weird that they got it at a 90.8. He didn't finish with a 90.8. Finished with like an 85 is what his total PFF grade was. So I'm not sure what the number is there at the bottom. But what's crazy is look at how he got better in college. When you're talking about a player ascending as he enters the league, 60, 64, 66, and then 90.8 his last year in college. So these were his college grades. That's right. So he did finish at 90.8. I don't know why I was thinking it's PFF Pro. But you're seeing a player that had played his best football in the last 5 games of the season. And Goody, I'm telling you, Goody takes note of that stuff. And Edgerrin Cooper is one of those players. The reason I wasn't as high on him is I looked at that and said, man, there are other linebackers that graded significantly higher for 2 years, And PFF isn't everything, but it's like if you got to choose between the two, I'm probably going with the guy who graded out in the 80s the last 2 years in college, as opposed to the guy who had that one good year coming in. But when you really break it down into great detail, he was ascending coming into the league. Number 5, the journey and foundation. Cooper's path explains his potential. Raised in Covington, Louisiana, in a football family, he grew up steeped in the game. A 4-star recruit with 118 tackles his senior year at Covington High. He sharpened his skills at Texas A&M in the SEC's pressure cooker. His senior year He was a consensus All-American and first-team All-SEC, leading the Aggies with 84 tackles, 17 for a loss, and 8 sacks. This high-stakes experience built leadership and preparation. Even when injured in his first NFL camp, he stayed engaged, taking mental reps. His Louisiana roots and SEC-honed foundation fuel his drive to be the best. Here's the
Quay Walker. Hold on. We can't talk about that without talking about Quay, because Quay was the dude that took him under his arm and kind of like kept him engaged while he was physically unable to perform during camp and stuff. So let's give Quay his flowers, as the kids say. And, veteran leadership helping a rookie. And I believe that that's a big reason why Coop hit the ground running when he finally saw the field.
Yeah.
And just a real quick on that note, Tim, like Emilio brings up quite a bit. Isn't it true that they've only spent 2 games together starting?
I believe so. I think it was 1 or 2 games.
Or 1 or 2. Like that's
actually
like
been on
that,
the field together.
That's what should make you guys more excited than anything. Is we're about to see. I'm thinking of the Mighty Ducks, the Bash Brothers, the guys that would just go mess. Yeah, so what's up?
This would really explain the decision to move on from Eric Wilson. I think in the linebacker and stick with Zay, stick with Hopper, stick with Coop, stick with Quay. And then, obviously bringing Simmons in was a good move too. So I agree wholeheartedly.
So we broke down the PFF grades in college. Here is how Cooper fared in his rookie year in Green Bay. And you'll notice minimal snaps the first 2 games of the season, 11 snaps and 7 snaps. But week by week, here were his PFF grades. 85, 57, 65, 41. Right there. After 4 weeks, you're going, I don't know, man. The more snaps he got a little bit worse, right? Then bang, 85, 81, back down to 34, 74, 64, down to a 53. And then against Seattle, at Seattle, 93.8 with a 93.0 coverage grade and a pass rush grade of 82.4. And then in week 16, 81.2, week 17, 80.1. Week 18 against Chicago was a 76.2. And then in the wild card game, the most important game of the season, even though the Packers lost, graded out with a 78.4 against the Philadelphia Eagles, playing 60 snaps in that game. What's wild is you could see a lot of green all across the board trickled in here, right? I mean, there's some games where his run defense was like a 91.5 at Minnesota. And then there were some games where his tackle grade was an 81.6 at home against Arizona. And then you look at his pass rush grade against Jacksonville. At Jacksonville, a 90.7. And then you hop down to his best coverage grade game was at Seattle with a 93.0. Pretty wild, man. Coach Lynn says, only game Quay and Cooper played together was the playoff game versus the Eagles. Wow. I did not know that. That's crazy. Very interesting.
So it was one game.
Yep.
Yep. So the season grade ended up being an 85.7 overall defensive grade, a run defense grade of 77.4, tackle grade of 57.2, pass rush grade of 90.0, and that coverage grade is what I'm most excited about, man, a 77.3 coverage grade. Absolutely awesome. Here we go. Let's go to the conclusion, and we'll get your all's final take on it. There you have it. Cooper's game-changing athleticism, elite football mind, immediate impact, relentless drive, and strong foundation. He's not just a rising star. He's a cornerstone for the Packers. The blueprint for a modern linebacker and on track to be a Pro Bowler or All-Pro. What do you think? Are you excited about Cooper's future? Hit the like button if you believe he's the next great Packers linebacker. Subscribe for more breakdowns and comment. Which reason convinces you most that Edgerrin Cooper is a star? If we missed something, guys, hit us up in the comments here on YouTube and on X. Guys, you have the floor. Final takes on the Edgerrin Cooper breakdown.
Which reason convinces you most that Edgerrin Cooper is a star? Gee, let me think. Athletic ability. It's tough to narrow it down to one, right? But I would go back to my point earlier. I think it's his ability to grasp the game at the NFL level as quickly as he has. And, things like being gap sound and, that kind of stuff, they'll clean that up. And I fully anticipate with, another 10 or 12 pounds of muscle on the frame and another year in this system, sky's the limit for Edge Coop, man.
Yeah, Tim kind of stole my thunder. I was going to say how he absolutely – the FBI was unreal. Like you watch, like I just remember kind of like the Madden view of him against the Vikings and him just shedding blocks and shooting a gap and making a stop in the backfield and just looking at it like that's like a work of art, man. Like that. I mean, that is Ray Lewis. That's Luke Kuechly. That is that type of level of NFL ball play. And you look at the fact that he is very young. He's at the time was even undersized compared to what he is now. And then just the fluidity at which he just easily goes between blockers. He doesn't take on blockers. He avoids them, which is, again, something I played linebacker not well. I did it, and it's real hard. It's real hard when you got a bunch of hog mollies running at you to look at the line, to see the running back, wherever the ball carrier may be, and to avoid getting contact so you can go make contact. And he seems to do it with a way of like, it's almost incredible to watch. And again, the fact that he added 15, 20 pounds of muscle on that frame. All right, there's a scary human meat missile.
It is the definition of one, right? So let's move on to safety talk now. All right.
Can I say one thing real quick? Sorry.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Right before we go into safeties, just because Steve DTA, who actually here believes in Isaiah Simmons.
This guy right here.
I do.
I
kind of do. Look at me like Forrest Gump on the boat. I do.
for me, listen, I'm from Kentucky. You got to show me. He's not been a dominant player in the NFL. However, he's played a lot of games. He's been available. He's been accountable in that regard. He was the 8th overall pick. You don't get drafted 8th overall in the NFL and not be a good football player to some certain extent. The fact that they've had him jumping around in different positions everywhere he's went, I love that he said that earlier this offseason, that I'm really excited that they're actually letting me play linebacker and just linebacker. That could be absolutely huge. So I'm cautiously optimistic is where I'm at on it.
Me too. Just like Jacob's coach when he put him in at linebacker.
Hey.
Coach Dager's asking the important questions. Who the hell put you at linebacker?
Just like Jacob's supervisor when he put him on the pole, right? So PFF safety rankings, all right. This is the same thing, top 32 ahead of the 2025 NFL season. All right, here we go. Number 1, surprise. Well, first of all, look at the 2 they mentioned. Kyle Hamilton leads the way. The versatile Ravens defensive back was the only safety to earn at least an 88 PFF grade in coverage, run defense, and pass rushing this past season. Xavier McKinney showed out in his first year in Green Bay. His 90.2 PFF coverage grade ranked 2nd at the position after he recorded 8 interceptions, tied for the most among safeties. All right, so we go down the list here. Number 1, Kyle Hamilton. Number 2, the 2nd best safety in the entire league, according to PFF, Xavier McKinney. McKinney's first season in Green Bay went superbly. He was among the best safeties in coverage in 2024 with his 90.2 PFF coverage grade, ranking 2nd at the position after he recorded 8 interceptions, tied for the most among safeties. He allowed a 56.4, again, a 56.4 passer rating in coverage, the 3rd best mark at the position. So PFF has Xavier McKinney as the 2nd best safety in the league. I want to get your all's take on that, and we're going to talk some leadership and what really, really transformed the Packers defense under Xavier McKinney. What do y'all think about what we just covered there? Do you feel like he's the 2nd best safety in the league? I noticed he was ahead of Kirby Joseph. That made me happy.
I think he's number 2. I really do. A lot of people would probably argue and say, it's because he had multiple interceptions in the beginning of the season and then kind of fell off a little bit on that. But interceptions are kind of moot to me. Like if you're in the right place and the right position, that kind of thing, then sometimes you get lucky, But I just think that the more of like his statistics or his metrics that way is that the way that he brought a leadership to that defense, I think, was something that was lacking. And I think that him being a catalyst was one of the reasons that Jeff Hafley's defense took a big impact there. And now you get the fact that you get guys like Mr. Cooper, Mr. Gary, plug in any cornerback that wants to step up and become kind of that plug and play shutdown corner. This defense could be scary. And it all starts, in my opinion, with Xavier and his leadership. I just think it was that important.
Yeah, I agree. That puts him ahead of Kirby Joseph. The leadership ability. what he brings to the table, and the fact that he's not a dirty bastard.
And he's not a dirty bastard.
He's not a dirty bastard. So I'll take X any day, every day, 7 days a week, 24/7, 365 over a guy like Kirby Joseph. And that's not a knock on Kirby Joseph. He's a hell of a player, right? But I do think it's fair to put.
It's kind of a knock on him. Kind of.
Yeah, it is. Well, whatever. See you week one. See you week one at Lambeau.
Can't wait. I cannot wait.
Tim, how dumb are the Giants front office? Look at the two players that they let go and walk to other teams. What is that?
We love it. You let your star running back go and he wins a Super Bowl with another team. You let your star safety go. He's about to win a Super Bowl with another team.
Let's go.
And I kind of get the Saquon release, although it looks really, really bad now with Saquon going off.
Yeah, that's
because he has battled injuries. Running back, there's this conversation piece. How valuable is that position? But letting Xavier McKinney did nothing but ball out in New York, and it's like, do you not have a plan to have a good safety? Like, are you just going, safety ain't that important? I thank God, Jacob. Thank the good Lord above that they were that stupid to let him walk. We'll take it right off the trash heap there. All right, Packers defense transforms. McKinney's biggest impact is not on the field. Here's what we got. Forget the $67 million contract, the all-pro stats, or the interceptions. When the Packers signed Xavier McKinney, they didn't just get a safety. They got a new standard. They got a mission. They got an exorcist. I love that word. For years, the Packers defense has been haunted by playoff collapses against physical teams like the 49ers. But what if the fix wasn't a new scheme or draft pick, but one player rewiring the team's identity? Xavier McKinney's real impact goes beyond stats. It's about changing a culture that's been good, but never good enough. All right. The haunting, a decade of defensive disappointment. To understand McKinney's impact, revisit the pain. For a decade, Green Bay's elite offense was held back by a fragile defense. Despite talent, 8 first-round picks at one point, something was missing: identity and toughness. In big moments, the defense folded. The 49ers ran through them. Communication breakdowns left receivers open. Under Joe Barry, mental errors defined a unit that reacted and never dictated. Playoff losses became a predictable nightmare. The front office fired Barry and hired Jeff Hafley for an aggressive 4-3 scheme, but a playbook alone wasn't enough. They needed a new heartbeat, someone to reshape the defense's soul.
You had to use that picture, Clayton. I was at that game too.
Which one? Oh, right here.
Oh, my goodness. Robbie Gould. Oh, my goodness.
It was between that.
Shout out to my brother from another mother, Tony, out there. He'll be back next month. He was at this game with me. We both sat in the stands. We were the last to leave. We had to watch Jimmy G walk off the field screaming "F the Packers."
No,
that was brutal. Yeah,
this was right after they blocked the punt and returned it for a touchdown too. So special teams again. I know people like to hate on Rich Bisaccia because there's some guy that puts out a special teams ranking every single year, but the reality is we don't get kicks blocked anymore, right? Like if it happens, it's so rare. Like this was just an absolute meltdown of special teams those 2 years. When Aaron was playing MVP football. So
that's why they brought Rich in. You know why? Because they looked around and they said,
they don't know what the they're doing. You understand that?
All right. The architect arrives, a statement of intent. Xavier McKinney's 4-year, $67 million deal was a bold move, signing the end of business as usual. It wasn't just about filling a roster spot. It was about transforming the culture. From day one, McKinney brought intensity. Teammates and coaches felt it. He worked like – I love this line. Listen to this line right here. He worked like a rookie and led like a veteran. Matt LaFleur called him, quote, a dude in his first meeting. The focus was clear, beating the 49ers. Quote, we knew we had to go through them, McKinney said. He embraced the franchise's deepest frustration, arriving on a mission to build a defense that bullies the bullies, not just hangs with them. His contract was for his mindset and leadership, making him the heart of Hafley's defense. I love that picture right there, too. Look at my guy right here. Awesome. Look at this, dude. You got Coop right there with him. I'm telling you, man, having McKinney at post safety and Coop right underneath him, all we need is that dominant 3-tech right in the middle of that defense on the line of scrimmage. Could be Devontae Wyatt.
I was just going to say it could be Devontae Wyatt. He could already be here right now.
We're going to know after this year. I feel very comfortable saying that. Very comfortable saying
and you feel even better about the opposite safety, right? between Williams and Bullard and, the guys that we can rotate over there, feel really good about this D.
And Tim, Evan Williams learning from Xavier McKinney, starting his rookie year.
Yeah.
Like sometimes these guys, they get into a bad program and they learn bad habits, and you got to as we say down here, unlearn them, right?
Yep.
You got to get all that fog out of your brain. There's none of that with Evan Williams. He's coming in with a dominant defensive coordinator. He's got Derek Ansley, right, as his DB coach. Essentially, is what he's doing, right? He's the passing game coordinator, and then on the field alongside him, he's got Xavier McKinney, guy who led the league in interceptions. It's just absolutely wild.
I'm glad you brought up DA, man, because I don't think he gets enough credit. One of the things, besides the football IQ that Coach Ansley has, is his ability to coach these guys up and relate to the players. If you get a chance to go to camp this year, pay attention to Derek Ansley and the way he talks to these guys in the secondary. And he knows how to get every last drop out of these players. And it really is something cool to see in person, and makes you appreciate it more as a fan, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. AFM in the chat says, unlearn is very Kentucky. Yes, it is, sir. Yes, it is. All right, the blueprint. Here we go, Jacob. Rewiring the defensive DNA. McKinney changes culture through accountability, mentorship, and on-field leadership. Post-practice, he's on his tablet, spotting group mistakes to coach teammates before meetings. Again, he's on his tablet. This is after practice. On his tablet, spotting group mistakes to coach teammates before meetings. A proactive standard that raises the bar. He mentors young safeties like Javon Bullard and Evan Williams, preparing them for the NFL speed. Hafley raves, quote, "What a pro," the way he looks out for the younger guys. As the defense's quarterback wearing the green dot, McKinney makes calls and aligns all 11 players, erasing the communication woes of the past. Quote, "I like to set the tone," he says. For the first time in years, the Packers have a true general at safety. There were rumors last year that there were a few games he wore the green dot. In New York, he wore the green dot the entire time. So that's something he's got in his bag of tricks there as well, Jacob. And the leadership that McKinney brings to the table is just wild.
I mean, yeah, again, that was my point that I will reiterate again, is that the guy just came in with I won't even say it was a quiet confidence. It was kind of a loud confidence. If you remember, he came in, he goes, "I'm here and I'm ready to be a leader. And I know what it takes to project success on a team, on an organization." And like, if you watch some of his first press conferences, the guy was not shy. He knew his capability. He was confident in himself. He knew the type of player that he was, and that he was going to bring that type of success to the Green Bay Packers, and he did it. And I think he did it even better than we could have ever hoped for. And like you said, him having that green dots experience is absolutely crucial to him being one of the, if not the biggest leader on that defense. He's the quarterback of the defense, and I think that he's absolutely projecting us. Man, dude, like if he can get more communication, to me, like I played a little, but like that was the biggest thing, is that you had to have somebody on the field communicating, literally yelling out loud, "Watch this guy, look at that, watch for this, look for that." Like that is what makes people great. When everybody's out there not listening and nobody knows what the heck they're doing, that's when you get into trouble. When somebody is out there being a field general and they're telling you exactly, Tim. I'm serious. It helps. That's what literally being a leader means. Say, "You're doing this. Watch this. Watch that guy. Watch this. Watch the end around. Watch the sweep." Like you can hear him screaming, and I love it.
That's one of the best things that we don't really talk about with X's game, is the fact that he's one of these guys that has that veteran leadership ability, but he's also still a young guy. He's not an old dog quite yet. Old enough to know better. Yeah, something like that. 27. He'll be 28 this year. Something like that. Old enough to know better, young enough to still enjoy it. Pick those guys up in the locker room and use that experience that you've cultivated, but also you still have that young swagger and that pep in your step. So, that signing right there, probably, arguably, other than maybe the Josh Jacobs signing, certainly the best free agent acquisition that Goody's had, I think.
Yeah. Greg Rice in the chat says, was he green dot for only one game? I couldn't find a definitive answer, Greg. I knew he wore it for at least one. I heard it was 2 to 3 games that he had the green dot. When we're in season, there's so much going on. It's like, I really don't care that much about trying to run it down and go, all right, who actually had the green dot? Now, Quay ideally was wearing the green dot, but Quay missing some time. Obviously, they shuffled things around. I know there was one game I want to say Eric Wilson wore the green dot one game, but I could be wrong. I think that was early on when Quay got hurt.
That was when Quay was out. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So they kind of mixed and matched last year there, Greg, for the best of my knowledge. But PFF grades, let's run through it here, starting in week 1. 76, 62, 76, 91 against Minnesota. 88 on the road against the Rams. 66, 69, 61, 65, 57,
65%. 65%. That's what
73, 78, 62, 64, 70, 62, 51. Finished the year with a defensive PFF grade of 84.8. There are his grades across his career with the New York Giants starting his rookie year, a 70 and a 75. He got hurt in 2022, dropped down to 554 snaps, finished with a 57 PFF grade. Then in 2023, jumped right back up to an 87.5 with a 91.2 coverage grade. And then, of course, his first year in Green Bay, 84.8 with a 90 coverage grade. That's
how did the Giants not re-sign him in 2023? Like, what are
Tim
they
told you earlier.
I told you the answer, Jacob, but I'd be happy to tell you again.
They don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Which brings me to my next point. Don't smoke crack.
Could be a crackhead that got hold to the wrong stuff.
Tim, you're too fast on the drop, bro.
I think
you're too fast.
I think Tim is taking those PEDs before this show. My man is
Here's a guy.
The exorcism, tangible results of intangible leadership. This culture shift translates to results. The defense turned from a liability into a turnover machine, dictating games. Offenses avoided deep throws against McKinney, with Hafley texting him, quote, "Don't get bored," as teams altered game plans. His presence instilled swagger and belief. Teammates call him, quote, "lights out," and a game changer. The defense now sees itself as bullies, ready to out-tough opponents. McKinney's 8 interceptions, second most in the league, aren't the cause. They're the result of his standard, communication, and culture. In conclusion, it says the Packers didn't pay McKinney $67 million for stats. They paid him to fix a decade-long defensive problem. He's the architect of a new culture, demanding accountability, mentoring youth, and bringing clarity as the on-field quarterback. The question isn't, will the defense be good enough anymore? It's whether it'll be the reason they win a title. The ghosts of playoff failures linger, but with McKinney leading, the Packers finally have a defense that believes it can beat teams like the 49ers, which they did last year. What McKinney's biggest change for the team? Comment below. Let us know what you think. What's the biggest change for the team in terms of McKinney? So anything else you guys want to hit on there with Xavier McKinney before we get ready to wrap this big bear up? I see a couple chats marked in here. We'll try to hit those.
Just real quick, we were talking about Edge Coop a few minutes ago, and I think a lot of the things we said about him, we can say about X. You talk about the physical attributes. That's a given. But I think with McKinney, man, it's that FBI and him being able to sniff out a coverage, sniff out a play before it happens, break an assignment when he needs to, and make a play on the ball. These are all things that you combine with that athletic ability, and you get a player like this, man. And I'm just glad he's wearing green and gold.
Yeah. United Bates went and done the research. Thank you so much, Bates. Wilson wore the green dot in week 18. Thank you so much for that information there, Bates. Anything else, Jacob, on Xavier McKinney before we move on here, brother?
No, I think that's a really kind of apt observation like Tim had. Like, guys that even if they have the athletic ability, like you can run Usain Bolt fast, right? But if you don't have the mental stuff to understand where you're running to, that's probably going to be an issue, right? And it's guys that are very unique where you put those 3, 4, 5, 6 crazy intangibles, whether it be speed, FBI, block shedding, whatever the case may be, and all of a sudden you have it in a complete package. I think that McKinney and I think that Cooper, both of them, are absolute studs in that aspect. You know, I wish we had McKinney a little younger. I wish we were the ones that drafted him for sure, but we did draft Cooper. And between the two of them, if we can get them coincidingly playing for like 2 or 3 years, that window for that defense, I'm telling y'all, like that's a pretty big. We got a lot of chances to do a lot of good things.
Like Coach Len says in the chat, and we complain about Goody. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Get the do-rag on that guy. Why are we complaining? Come on, man. Unbelievable. All right, Chase Green in the chat says, Clayton, do you think we can stop duo runs from Detroit and Chicago with our current D-tackle group? Chase, based off what we've seen last year, man, stopping the run is not a problem. Now, here's the thing. Every year, this is the reason we're talking about the defense maybe taking a slight step back. They're going to watch the tape and go, okay, here's what they were doing, right? And again, one of the problems was those touch spies. When you're running duo up the middle and you got a guy that's occupying a double team and he's not really pinning his ears back and losing leverage at the point of attack, he's kind of holding ground. It's a lot like a 34 approach, a 34 defensive approach where your defensive linemen, your 3 defensive linemen in a 34, they don't have one gap. They've got 2. They will engage and control 2 gaps. So if you're in a 3 tech, he's going to attack that B gap, but he's looking to shift over to the A gap if he needs to, depending on what the front, what look the front has. It may be the gap to his left as well. So with that one-touch spy in the middle, you really were able to occupy, win the hack count, go +1 on a hack count, occupying a double team, but also not being too aggressive and getting yourself in a spot where you can't rebound and stop the run. Also, what we noticed last year were guys setting the edge really, really well, something that Lucas Van Ness didn't get a lot of credit for, and we seen it on the tape when we broke it down the other night. Really did a good job setting the edge. And Rashawn Gary, leading the defensive lineman in run stops, was an absolute force against the run last year. Again, the Rashawn Gary haters, they will try to key in on, okay, what went down for Gary this year? Okay, his pressures went down. Let's attack that, right? They want to attack the sacks because he led the team in sacks, albeit 7.5, but he still led the team in sacks, a team that finished with 9 sacks on the year. But the one thing they stay away from, and boy, oh boy, they get antsy when you want to talk about the run game, because again, when you're questioning him making the Pro Bowl, you look up and your defense was a top 10 pass defense. They were the second best run defense in the league, and this guy led your defensive line in run stops and sacks. Why are you so confused that he made the Pro Bowl? Could it be that you had a horribly bad take because you got overly emotional after a key loss in the season and you wanted to build off that narrative in the entire season? Because again, if you're asking me, would you rather have the second best run defense and a top 10 pass defense, or would you rather have more sacks and the team fall apart like it has in the past defensively? I'm sorry, boys. I'm looking for the dub. Y'all can keep looking at the box scores. I ain't doing it. It's a lazy way to fan is what it is. And it's most of the time it's the fans that want to find something negative. And once they get their take out there, because they were kicking and screaming on Twitter like a 6-year-old in the cereal aisle that didn't get what he wanted. And then all of a sudden, when you look up at the end of the year and go, damn, this defense is good. Well, you still got to double down on your take rather than go, maybe I got it wrong. I say I'm wrong all the time, guy. I'm married. You kidding me? I'm wrong daily. Like, people don't – it's like people convince themselves that I can't be wrong or people aren't going to like me. When in reality, when you go, boy, I screwed that up, they like you more because you're just being honest and you're being humble. It just – again, it drives me insane.
Fan right here.
And that's why Clayton uses the block button on X, and his blood pressure has gone down over the last 12.
He can block.
Tim is on point. All right, that's it. We're going to wrap this thing up. Any parting thoughts, gents, before we get out?
I think just kind of putting a ball on that conversation, I really think it adds a lot of credence to your point, Clay, about this D line. We're like 1, maybe 2 pieces away from really putting it together, and we talk about the cornerback room, conflicting reports from the fan base on how you feel going into this year, but you cannot deny that the back end of this defense, the middle of this defense, they're there already. We've got pieces in the cornerback room and we've got pieces on that D line. I'm really excited about, like Steve is saying here in the chat, Nas Stackhouse, man, if this guy pops, boy, would that be interesting if, he plays his way onto this team and makes some noise. And then, Devontae Wyatt taking a step 2 would be huge. If we shore up that D line, especially in the middle, especially against the run, oh my goodness, this defense, the hell with top 5, top 10, we could be talking top, 1 to 3 here in the NFL.
Completely agree. Anything, Jacob? You good, man?
Yeah, no, just one last thing quick. I completely agree with everything Tim just said. That completely I vibe with. If you guys go though to the Packers YouTube channel, today you will find them getting to know the rookies, doing one of those types of segments. And what they do, I feel like maybe they're watching us. Maybe they stole a little thunder. They asked, what's your, basically we're talking conspiracy theories. And they asked if they believe in aliens and other sorts of questions to that nature. And I'll just tell you that a lot of these rookies are vibing with, man. They understand. They said, yeah, man. They put on the tinfoil hat. I think that if we could probably bring back the awesome Jacob conspiracy, whatever the heck that was the best drop I think we ever had. Just because we all know that all the conspiracies are true, right? Birds aren't real. Dinosaurs aren't real. What else do you want to go off? Anyways, I'm just probably short up here.
We need to bring back.
No, it is really funny though. Watch the rookies and they talk about whether or not they think aliens are real. It's actually hilarious. It's a good time.
All right, we want to thank everybody in the chat tonight. You guys were absolutely awesome. I just got tagged in a tweet where Morgan Wallen walked out with Brett Favre during last night's concert in Wisconsin. Said the crowd went absolutely nuts. So pretty cool, man.
Love it.
Morgan Wallen kind of growing on me, man. My grandpappy would roll over in his grave, but he's kind of growing on me a little bit.
Yeah.
Heard a couple songs off the latest album, and I'm like, this kind of feels like old school country for a change. It's kind of cool. But Jacob, you keep listening to Third Eye Blind, don't you?
Hey, Third Eye Blind's amazing, first of all.
All right, we're out here, guys. Everybody in the chat, thank y'all so much for making us a part of your series. A-Fam's mom, hold on, she's going to chime in real quick. Can we have a Bigfoot search party on your property, Jacob? Kind of romantic. Oh, Chris N says dinosaurs aren't real life. It's funny, I got a friend who will remain nameless said dinosaurs they were not real, and I was like, so what about these, like, yeah, listen, I don't know, I'm not whatever, I don't know, what is it, anthropod, what is it called, what is it that studies the bones and the dinosaurs and all that, I don't know. Boniologist, we'll call it that. I'm not a professional in any regard in that, but I said, oh, they got like fossils and bones and stuff. He said, that could be a big ass beaver. That's what he said. Got it. All right. There's the definition, or the explanation, I can say. There it is. Anthropologist. Thank you, Holmes. My man.
You think God never farted?
A-Fam says, how do you explain them dino nuggets then? That's a
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
All right, we're out of here, guys. Hey, Daryl knows all about bones. All right, guys. Everybody have a wonderful evening. Thank y'all so much. Who do we got here? Bowl of Soup. I was listening to Midnight in the Desert one night, and a caller came on and said, I was cutting my grass. Next thing I know, a Bigfoot came out of the woods. Nice.
Clayton, you better check on your neighbor.
Yeah, we got a couple neighbors down here that look like Bigfoot. To be honest with you. That could be one of my guys there. So, all right, we're out, guys. Hey, listen, we're looking for Michael D. Sullivan, Joe Stadler, and J. Cole. J. Cole's in here a lot of the time.
And Bigfoot. Michael D. Sullivan was the winner of the Enigbari autograph card. Joe Stadler was second place. In case Michael doesn't come forward, then J. Cole. All right. I'm going to have to leave it up to the listeners to reach out to me because we're including the YouTube members now in our giveaways. So make sure you guys, if you want to support the show, just hit that join tab down there, or you can join our Patreon group, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. Everybody have a wonderful evening. We'll see you tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. for Central Time for PTA Live. Jacob, go easy on the ladies out there, man. We'll see you.
Here we go.
Nice.
Bye, guys.